Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between, and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante, part 14. When we last left off, we made some not great decisions, I think, in pushing our family forward, so we shall see what happens. We promised to support the commoners and sacrifice our career, so let's see how all that plays out. So it's year 1139, we're still in chapter 4, Peacetime, an old friend. Night is falling over Anisot. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day of work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you have known since you were a little boy. It is as if your legs are acting of their own accord, bringing you to the place of your childhood play, the remnants of the wooden fort. So much has changed since the days when you used to play here with your little friends. Engrossed in your memories, at first you fail to notice that you are not alone. A tall figure in the uniform of a Legion officer approaches you. You see unruly brown hair and a twinkle in his eye. It is Tomas. Wow, look how he looks. God, to think our friendship started with a fight and now we're best friends. And we promise to be friends forever. Now that's a surprise. Hi Brante. Fancy running into you this moment I'm back in town. Your childhood friend puts his arm around you. Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We'll have a chat. Remember the old days? Tomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much older he looks. His face has become sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than their usual mischievous sparkle. I should warn you though, Morgan, I ain't the best company nowadays. I've managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand. Oh no, he's gonna tank our reputation if we hang out with him. The smile on his face starts to fade. I'm not gonna walk away. I can't walk away anyway, it won't even let me because I made a promise to him. Yep. So we're gonna have dinner with Tomas, and you aren't about to miss a chance to spend some time with your old friend, no matter what the danger he's in, and the fact that it's going to drop a reputation. You give Tomas your hand. You shake hands firmly. So you haven't forgotten your old friend, Brante. That's what I ought to be. Well, come on then. You go to a tavern, reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table in the far corner of the tavern. Tomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, about your first years back in Anisot. You share family news, your quest to become nobles of the sword, the quarrels between your elder brother and sister, your mother's health. Tomas nods with concern. Sounds like you've had some pretty tough times. Your family has been different. Your family's always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pal's always in the workshop, and my ma's always doing some chores. But look at me, I came home a service-class nobleman, although it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. Tomas is suddenly grim. You ask your old friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances around the room and lowers his voice. Well, I'm captain of the Magran Legion now, and who's our commander? His Excellency Dorius Otten. That's right, I serve under the very same Ocnian whose toes I stepped on back in Eterna, and you better believe he remembers me. I'm afraid things are going to end real bad. But hey, I'll figure it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Maybe he'll help us get evidence for Otten, actually. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order in uppity towns and villages, protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills all day long, obviously. If only you knew how sick I am of the barracks. Morgan, I've thought about starting a family. My ma keeps telling me to find a nice girl to marry. She says it's high time I got itched. It is completely dark and you are still talking. Finally, Tomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Tomas through your home neighborhood, you keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that has been following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while in the semi-darkness between your family homes, just as you used to all those years ago. Boy, Brante, I hardly ever come to Anisot these days. Our battalion is always on the march all over the province, but twins William will see each other again real soon. Yeah, Tomas has gone up, but my relationship's gonna have gone down. You advise your friend to safeguard his every life. Yeah, I knew it. Fuck. Willpower's gone up though, that's good. We can come into action if we need to, but damn it, that's a real shame. I don't know if we're going to get a noble by the sword. The newspaper case. Oh, this is all. I love this game, but a part of me doesn't want to play it more because I'm making these decisions, and part of me loves playing it because of these decisions. And the best thing is, this is just a noble path. You know, the game will be totally different with the clergy and the conspirator path. Your first year at the prefecture has come to an end. You are not a young student anymore. You now know that a judge's trade means so much more than knowing the law and carrying it out. Resolving a litigation of an importance requires striking a balance between the code of law, high society's opinion, and the whims of the provincial powers that be. Your second year is beginning, and it feels much tougher already. Trampled by the nobles, the commoners seek help, and so they turn to the law. They turn to you. A carriage takes you through the silver district of Anisot. It is early morning, and you have just received a letter bearing the seal of the city hall. Remy El Verman, the magistrate of Magla himself, wishes to see you at once. The mere sight of the magistrate's invitation is enough to make you scowl. This is no doubt about your newest case regarding the Quorum Gazette, which may spell trouble for everyone involved. A provincial legislature, the Lesser Quorum, governs the volume and distribution of taxes in Magla. After a new law created by the Emperor's own brother Cornelius Tempest several years ago, commoners of considerable wealth were granted representation in the Quorum on par with the nobility, thus forming the Lesser Quorum. Now the representatives of the lowly estate have founded a newspaper of their own, and this Quorum Gazette, distributed all across Anisot, fervently argues for commoners' rights in provincial governance. The man behind the newspaper is Mayor Egmont, a well-off industrialist and owner of several silver mines, and it was his article and his demands that brought about this litigation. You take out a newspaper and read Egmont's article printed within. It addresses Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest directly. We demand that Sir Overseer Gaius Tempest cease his habitual disregard for our meetings. From our Emperor Uther II we received the lawful right to assemble and sit in the Lesser Quorum. And we say to the Overseer our voice must be heard, our message must be accepted. The carriage stops in a square by a luxurious building. This is the City Hall, where Imperial officials manage all domestic and economic matters of Anisot. You are escorted up a long, winding staircase to the door of the magistrate's office. You now stand before Remy El Verman. The magistrate maintains a haughty bearing in spite of his venerable age. His face bears the sharp, proud features so common among the old aristocracy. Ah yes, Sir Judge. You are from the Brante family, I believe. I appreciate your prompt arrival. I'd rather not waste your time and get right down to business. The matter for which I have called you here is urgent indeed. You are judging a case against the newspaper by the Lesser Quorum, are you not? I've had a torrent of complaints against it from the most venerable members of the Quorum. They say Mayor Egmont has insulted Gaius Tempest, our overseer, and an Archnian from the Emperor's own great dynasty, and I say they're absolutely right. The Empire gave those uppity commoners a hand in managing the province's very well-being, which is already a violation of their lowly lot, but no, that wasn't enough for them, it seems. You've earned the mantle only recently, Sir Brante, but you must realize that this is an affront to the honor of the entire nobility. I expect you to do your duty as a judge and immediately find a pretext for shutting down the pathetic gazette. Elborn, your prefect, might think otherwise. However, Sir Brante, if you exercise enough wisdom and cunning, I am certain you will realize which position is most beneficial to you. With your youth and potential, I'll do you good to have powerful friends on your side. I'm sure you will reach the only appropriate and just verdict when closing this case, and I hope you will be duly judicious. For now, farewell. You return to the prefecture lost in thought. Sir El Varman is right, your word is all it will take to shut the Lesser Quorum newspaper down. As a judge and a nobleman, you do not even need a reason. The people running the Gazette are merely commoners, no matter how wealthy they might be. There was no breach of law, however. Mayor Egmont's article simply requested that the overseer of Magla hear what the Lesser Quorum has to say. You can reject the nobility's complaints and thus show the commoners they may rely on the prefecture's justice, but Sir El Varman and many fellow judges will be outraged. Father learns that the case has been assigned to you. He visits you and offers some advice. You're in quite a predicament now, son. If you try to appease one party, the other will be furious. Wouldn't you rather see if there's any way to make peace between them? We could host a party at our estate and invite both Mayor Egmont and the noble elders from the Quorum. If you are successful at diffusing their quarrel, no one would object if you decide to legitimize the Quorum Gazette. Even El Verman won't be against it if the nobles stop complaining. However, father is not your only visitor of note that day. Shortly after the door closes behind him, the familiar face of Judge Carlo Fockengraben appears in your office. He looks around cautiously before speaking his mind. I heard you've been ordered to deal with a newspaper run by wealthy commoners. It's a complicated case indeed. If you ask me, work like that deserves to be rewarded. Why not make the most of it? You're quite close with Prefect Elborn, are you not? Almost related, as it were. What if you were to try to shut down the paper and seize their printing press? All it would take is Sir Prefect's signature. And my friends among the Quorum nobles, why, they could use a gazette of their own. I would be delighted to help you put that printing press in good hands. Just think of it, you would shut down a subversive periodical and help our esteemed nobles spread their message, all while earning a lucrative reward for your efforts. It's quite a coup, really. Everyone wins. Do think on it, Brante. Oh God, so we can get reputation for our family, money for our family, help the commoners, help the nobles. Do we have all the options? Oh, I can't seize the printing press. Because my scheming is too low, but I can legitimize the Gazette. I have a feeling that will give us reputation. That will give us... Yeah, I'm going to try and legitimize it, because I've got diplomacy and willpower. He leaves you, and you are left alone in your office to deliberate. If you decide to shut down the Gazette, how far should you go? And if you choose to legitimize the periodical, how will you go about it? I will legitimize the Gazette. You host a party to help Egmont and the Quorum nobles make peace. This allows you to legitimize the Quorum Gazette. That seems like the best option. You spend several days scheduling audiences, exchanging greetings, and presenting invitations to the senior nobles of Anisot. You have to pull all the strings you have and muster all your knowledge of Anisot high society, to say nothing of the family funds you spend throwing a sizable... Oh no! Shit! I didn't realize it would cost family funds. You spend throwing a suitable party for such esteemed guests. We're never going to be rich. After much effort, both the nobles and the commoners from the Lesser Quorum have gathered together at your family estate at last. Mayor Egmont, owner of the Quorum Gazette, has accepted your invitation as well. The nobles are clearly vexed at having to tolerate the commoners' presence, yet they maintain the decorum etiquette demands. Shit! It's going to come to being a noble by the sword. I'm not going to have the wealth to do it. You tactfully take advantage of the situation to begin a negotiation. You inform the esteemed gathering that you are the judge handling the case of the Quorum Gazette. In your opinion, a periodical for the legislator is a most useful initiative. How far are we going to fall? Oh no, we're in poverty. Oh God, I didn't realize it was that bad. I thought it was 4 or 5. Oh dear. And only if the Gazette represents the opinions of all its members, including commoners and nobles alike. Your words are met with a flurry of resentful shouting, disputing voices. People start to argue. Sometime later, the Gazette owner, Mayor Egmont, takes his turn to speak. He looks almost like a nobleman. Egmont is well groomed and wears expensive clothing only a wealthy industrialist could afford. Nevertheless, his rough manner of speaking and boorish posture betray his humble origins. I do say there's some truth in what you're saying, Sir Brante. We begin the Gazette without asking the noble sirs for their opinions. Still, if they let us have our articles printed, I suppose I'll agree to publish their opinions as well. This leads to another fervent debate. Some nobles reject sharing a periodical with the lowborn, while the more obstinate commoners of the Quorum insist that they already have the right to publish the Gazette if they're on their own. It takes you no small amount of time and negotiation to bring both sides to an agreement. It's settled then. As the owner of the Quorum Gazette, I pronounce it the official and legitimate newspaper of the Lesser Quorum, and the noble sirs are invited to publish their articles on the state of affairs in our province. Industrialists and merchants surround you and shower you with praise as a skillful negotiator. Tonight you defended more than just a newspaper. You stood up for the entire common estate of the province. Father keeps his distance for most of the party, but once matters are settled, he pats you on the shoulder. Excellent work, son. You chose the path of justice while staying on the good side with the powerful nobility. Even Magistrate Alverman won't hold this against you. Your career at the prefecture will surely flourish. Let's just hope your notoriety as a protector of the common folk won't harm you in the future. Oh nice, the boat went up. That's pretty good. That's very good, actually. The night is over. One by one, the esteemed guests leave the Brante estate, your family home you know so well. You never thought the affairs of the entire province would be one day decided within these familiar walls. Yeah, that's dodgy. Very dodgy. Oh, Protector of the People event has happened. The people of Anizot know and praise you as a defender of the common people's rights. Yeah, but we'll see how good that is. That's quite good. That's, you know, that's high enough. You know, we can afford 2, and 2 will give us future prefects, so we might be okay with that, I hope. But our family situation is pretty bad. Our poverty, you know, we're in poverty now. We're going to need something quite big. There's no way we're going to earn 4, I think, to get us affluent, I'm afraid. The call of the ancestors. Today is a big day for the Brante family, the day your family line started, the day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight everyone who bears the name Brante must descend into the family's crypt to keep vigil by the tombs. This is the time to surrender yourself to your ancestors and hear their will. Grandfather is going to slate us. The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stefan has been choosing his apparel since morning, praying anxiously under his breath all the while. The heir has a special place in the family vigil. Even Mother is planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it. Lydia, I beg of you, stay home. You are far too weak for an all-night vigil in the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind as to stay with your mother, since you cannot join us anyway? Gloria answers in a muffled voice. As you wish, Sir Robert. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remember how their last encounter ended, when he tried to burn down the house and kill her. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze, but at the moment your attention is drawn to a noise in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth. Oh God, Nathan. I'm not late, am I? Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother's and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fuss over him. Stefan eyes your youngest brother coldly. I expect nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you can't even manage to live by the commoner's lot? Go lie down in the pantry and stay out of our sight. Father, Morgan, it's time. Let's go. Oh, Nathan. Alongside Father and Stefan, you descend into the family crypt. You cannot help but remember paying your respects to your grandfather 9 years ago. You light the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long-decayed remains of Gregor Brante. You take your places around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left with their own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadows in the corners of the room deepen. The voices grow stronger. You know that the ancestors of Gregor Brante, long forgotten commoners whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you, but no memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They are pleading for something, demanding it of you, calling out, screaming. Finally, you all hear the painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber. It's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you'll bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission. Remember, as long as I am in your blood, I will give you no peace. I did not have my family ennobled just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the Empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever. But I do not see any of you before my tomb. Where are you hiding? Where is the head of our family, the man who will speak to me? Where is the man who will heed my will? Father rises from his knees and makes his way toward Grandfather's stone tomb, the source of that booming voice. But Stefan suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stefan firmly bars the way. Stop it, Stefan. You are my heir, but you are not the head of this family. Father, it is not you that Sir Gregor is addressing. Earning the nobility of the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. I could step forward myself. Stefan does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you are here too. Even the restless voices of the ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. Oh, I mean, Stefan is right. Maybe Father's time has passed and he should hand over a little bit and let Stefan get on with it, but at the same time, Father is the head of the family. You know, we could step forward, but we're not doing too great either, I don't think. And it might just lead to disunity if I step forward, you know, all three of us. having to fight. I kind of want to support Stefan. I think grandfather would be happy with that. Happier than with father. Okay, I'm going to support Stefan. I'm sorry, Dad. You walk up to father and gently put a hand on his shoulder. Let Stefan talk to grandfather. This is what our ancestor wishes. There is no reason to oppose him. Father lowers his head and steps to the side. Stefan approaches your grandfather's tomb, his fists clenched tight. Stefan, I have always known that if anyone would lead the Brante family to glory, it would be my grandson. Sir Gregor, we are close to becoming nobles of the sword than ever before. The overseer looks upon us with favour. Give us but a couple more years and your dream will come true. My dream, Stefan. It is the great cause of anyone who bears the name of Brante. Earning us a place in eternity is your duty to your blood, just as it is my duty to look out for you even from beyond the grave. Your father's follies have become a veritable threat, and I must help you overcome it. You still cater to those foundlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish upon the Brante name, my name. You are but a step away from leading our family to shame and ruin. Stefan, you are the heir to this family. Do not take after your spineless father. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness, O God. Stefan is suddenly shivering. You have not seen your elder brother like this before. He replies to his ancestor in an unsteady voice. But, Gloria, I can't. Do you dare hesitate? Dead though I may be, my will lives on, and you are the embodiment of this will in the realm of the living. Stefan checks himself. Oh, shit. I will do my duty to my family, Sir Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it. The crypt is completely silent once more. You are alone again. You see tears glistening on Stefan's face. He suddenly clasps you in his arms. I hope you really do understand me, Morgan. This is the burden I must bear, but I do not wish any harm to come of anyone who lives under our roof. I will find a solution that is best for all of us. His max reputation. When your brother holds you in his firm embrace, you hear a sorrowful sigh from father. You watch as his lone, hunched figure walks up the stairs. The vigil is over. Here we go. Oh, nice. Diplomacy is nearly max. Our willpower is brilliant. I mean, some things are going well and some things are going disastrously, so we should see what happens next. Year 1140, Egmont's speech. Just a few days into the year, Mayor Egmont, chairman of the Lesser Quorum and owner of several silver mines, made a speech that caused quite a stir in the province. Though a commoner, Egmont had the gall to demand that Magran authorities both enforce and obey imperial law. What's the use of the imperial laws if they aren't enforced as they should be? Even today, any Anizot nobleman who gets up on the wrong side of the bed can draw his sword and run a commoner through with impunity. These gentlemen may be our rulers, but does that mean they can defy the Emperor's will? Sir Elborn has been appointed to enforce the rule of law in Margra. How come the prefect doesn't see this? We commoners aren't trying to seize the noble lot and take over the province, but the rule of tradition is a thing of the past. This is the age of justice. We may not all be equals in its eyes, but even the nobles and clergy must obey the law. The Magran aristocracy is furious for Egmont and demands that he be silenced, but the rich industrialist has too much money and too many connections to be dealt with so easily. You hear more and more rumours about secret societies of commoners appearing in the city, plotting against noble rule. The gentry fears that Egmont and his peers might be behind this, but they have no proof, at least for now. Father Leonard, abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and leader of the New Believers, supports Egmont and has spoken publicly in his favour. The twins themselves entrusted a noble estate with the right to rule over the common folk, but rulers must also care for their subjects. The old fate is mistaken. No commoner should ever be forced to suffer. It is for this very reason that the imperial law exists. It is there to ease the people's suffering. May those laws be duly enforced, and may they serve all the people of the empire. Oh dear. So the wealth of Margra has gone down. Order is we're getting close to unrest, and there was a struggle for power going on. finish on this, I think. The Vassal and the Lord. It is another day at the prefecture. A secretary peeks into your office with a message from the prefect. There is a new case he wishes you to handle. You put away your quill and walk to Sir Elborn's office. To your surprise, he happens to have another visitor already. There is a graceful figure sitting across from your immediate superior, none other than Octavia Melanindas. After all the times you have met in the capital, you expected the Archduke's daughter to be brilliantly, lavishly dressed, but her appearance today is modest and formal, with a high-necked dress and a strict bun. However, her demure attire only serves to emphasize her role as a distinguished visitor to the prefecture. You bow to the prefect and the noble Archnean lady. Octavia offers you a curt greeting, then returns to the conversation you have interrupted. This matter can brook no delay, Baron Elborn. The young judge may well wait outside. Nevertheless, Sir Elborn insists that you come in and take a seat. Worry not, Brante, you aren't interrupting at all. Lady Melanindas, I was scheduled to meet with Sir Brante at this very hour. I regret to inform you that your visit was perhaps somewhat unfortunately timed. Octavia rises from the soft, high-backed chair. The young Archnean lady now stands tall, elegant, and indignant. You are out of line, Sir Elborn. Archduke Melanindas has graced you with a representative from his dynasty, and you will listen to what I have to say this instant. The Archduke has expressed concern over your manner of governance at the prefecture. You have always been headstrong and eager to infringe upon the freedoms of your own noble estate, but now it appears you find it acceptable to conduct proceedings against our loyal subjects. Our dynasty has already seen many loyal nobles of the sword arrested or faced with punishment in court. Where will this lead? Do you mean to enforce your lowly laws against us Archneans? Do not forget that those laws were written to keep low-born humans in check. Our lives have always been governed by a noble honour and tradition, as well as a blood tie that is our heritage. Our only justice is the court of honour. The only rule above us is that of our sovereign, the Emperor, and the twins. Our only duty is so our kin and our forefathers. My ancestor Charles Melanindas himself granted the boon of nobility to you humans. It would be most unwise to make me regret his decision of old. In the name of Archduke Melanindas, I demand that you end any and all proceedings against our subjects at once. Sir Elborn acknowledges Lady Octavia's vehement speech, with a calm smile and nothing else. He shows no trepidation, no tremor, nor fear, even though the lady across from him represents one of the Empire's mightiest dynasties. Lady Melanindas, the twins have graced the blessed Archnean lineage with a boon of long life, yet the world can be quick to change at times. The laws of the Empire now govern the nobles of the mantle and even the nobles of the sword, along with the common estate. This particular change is not as recent as it might seem. The laws of the Empire and the decrees of the Emperor himself, the twins' chosen supreme sovereign, his laws are his will, which is, as you said yourself, the only rule above us. And that means all of us, from an high Archnean to the lowliest commoner. Presently, the Emperor's representative in our province is Overseer Gaius Tempest. Like this prefecture in its entirety, I am simply obeying the Overseer's will and the laws of the Empire. Then pray tell me, Baron Elborn, who is your own sovereign and protector? He is none other than my father, Archduke Melanindas. You swore him an oath of fealty and vassalage. It is your duty to follow the work and will. Or do you wish for the Archduke himself to address you directly? I tell you, cease this harassment of our loyal noble subjects at once. I will not leave until this order is carried out. Why, Lady Melanindas, I'm afraid this is quite impossible. As a servant of the Empire and the Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest, it is my duty to enforce the law. Now, if you would excuse me, Sir Brante and I have urgent matters to discuss. The gaze of the Archduke's daughter is locked with the prefects in a silent struggle. Each expects the other to back down first, but then Octavia suddenly turns toward you. But I believe the young judge has more in him than blind obedience. Surely you are able to distinguish a rightful claimant from a threat to the province, are you not? Silence resounds within the prefect's office. They are both waiting for you to speak. We can support Elborn, which I don't want to do because we're doing too much commoner stuff at the minute. We need to support the nobles. You can side with Octavia, or defuse the situation. Which I'll do that, which will probably give me my boost to diplomacy. I find the willpower actions are usually the best ones for stats and so on. You have Lady Octavia's attention now. She may not have shown it to Sir Elborn's presence, but she remembers you from the capital quite well. Skillfully you take advantage of this connection to reduce the tension. You start by reaffirming her position. Truly, the Archduke has every right to look after his noble subjects. You would never expect an ancient dynasty to abandon the loyal nobles to their fate. Having said that, you shower the Archduke and his noble dynasty with praise, including his brilliant progeny who has deigned to grace the prefect's office with a visit. You casually mention your encounter with Lady Octavia at the fencing tournament in Eterna. I have to admit, Brante, for a human, you fought valiantly indeed. I've witnessed some of the best Arcanian swordmasters at work, and yet your fighting piqued my curiosity. There is a look of relief on Sir Elborn's face as he watches you converse. Still you return to Octavia's demands. After all, she did not come here for small talk. The Archduke's words carry great weight, but sadly Sir Elborn has no power to decide the matter. After all, he is but a humble servant of the Emperor. Perhaps it will be more prudent to take his matter to the Emperor's overseer, Gaius Tempest, who was also an Arcanian of noble lineage. Just like a moment ago, Octavia winces at the mention of Gaius Tempest. The Emperor's brother took away her noble family's right to represent imperial authority in the province of Magla. Still, the Arcanian lady considers your words well before speaking again. To a certain extent you are right, Morgan Brante. I cannot help but admit it. We Arcanians ought to avoid involving humans in matters of supreme authority. It is still my wish and intention that Sir Elborn present us with an answer, but if he absolutely must learn the will of Gaius Tempest beforehand, then so be it. But do not tarry too long with your answer, or you risk angering my father. Octavia rises elegantly from her seat. Before she leaves the prefect's office, her eyes rest on you for a moment. She bats her eyes charmingly and addresses you with a gentle smile, and then she is gone. Elborn pats you on the shoulder, content with the outcome of the interview. Unbelievable! I never expected you to be acquainted with Octavia Melanendas. My thanks, Brante. You bought me some time. If you hadn't intervened just now, I'd have had to defy the law and end all cases against nobles who serve the Archduke. We'll see what the overseer says about this now. Archduke Melanendas is testing the prefecture with his daughter. Otherwise, he'd have asked me to visit his palace personally. He's showing caution, which means we will still stand strong, at least for now. We will continue our service to the law without regard for the outmoded ways of the past. But I digress. This is high politics, and the prefecture still has plenty of cases to resolve. Let's get back to our work, shall we? Nice, he likes me, which is good. With that, Elborn hands you a new case file. You thank the Baron and head back to your office to study it properly. It's time to get back to work. Willpower went down. No stat increases, that's a shame. Damn it. But anyway. We'll do one more, what the heck. I'm enjoying this too much. Passion. The repercussions of your recent encounter with the Archduke's daughter soon manifest themselves. A letter bearing the seal of the great dynasty of Melanendas arrives the next day. Inside the envelope you find an invitation to Castle Serpenverde, the Archduke's residence. Visiting the Archduke of Magla himself is a great honour. To decline such an invitation would be an insult of colossal magnitude. You immediately purchase a new doublet in the latest fashion and ask father to lend you a precious family brooch. It depicts the Brante family crest, and the leaves on the oak branch are made of tiny emeralds. Octavia should find it to her liking. Your family cannot help but notice your preparations. Mother watches nervously as you make sure everything is ready for your journey. This odd invitation has me worried, my son. Be careful in the Archduke's castle. You are still of low-born origin. Arcanian attention spells danger to people like us every time. Remember not to displease them, or the Melanendases will grind our family into dust. Come early morning, the carriage takes you away from the border walls of Anizot. It takes you a full day to reach Serpenverde along the dusty, sun-scorched high road. While on the road, you read notes of Arcanian traditions and rules of etiquette again and again. To preserve your family's honour, you must make the best possible impression. The provincial powers that be will be watching your every step, and so will Octavia with her cunning grin. Only as the sun is about to set do you manage to spot the dark, colossal shape of Castle Serpenverde, a towering fortification of jet-black stone spread across a peak looming over the bed of a long-gone river. The carriage climbs the narrow serpentine road to the castle gate. Soldiers of the Archduke's guard approach you, and you present them with the invitation. The guards eye you with suspicion, but give the signal to open the gate. You are now inside the walls of the Archduke's castle. You'd expected to see many carriages of the other guests beyond the gate, but the courtyard is strangely empty. The guards show you to a servant, who guides you to a room reserved for guests and leaves you there to wait. The servant soon returns, and you follow him through the dimly lit corridors of Serpent Verde. Lavishly adorned with silver, emeralds, and weapons of war, the castle is silent. There is no noise, no music. It seems completely uninhibited. The sound of your footsteps is smothered by the soft velvet beneath your feet. The servant stops in front of a pair of massive doors made of black wood. This is your destination, he gestures slightly. You enter an enormous room, its walls covered in portraits and ancestral relics. In the very center of the room is a towering throne carved of black wood. Upon the throne you see the delicate silhouette of Octavia Melanidas, clad in a black velvet dress, embroidered in silver. With a commanding gesture, the Arcanian lady bids you approach. You're here at last. Are you surprised, Morgan? How odd. You didn't think my father would actually summon you to an Arcanian castle, did you? Or are you truly that naive? How sweet of you. No, it was I who summoned you here. I think she has magic, maybe. You are alone in the castle. Portraits cover the walls, portraits of Arcanians with dark eyes and jet black hair. They all resemble birds of prey, and their eyes seem to watch you with contempt that makes you uneasy. Allow me to introduce you to my family. Family, this is a human by the name of Brante. What do you think of him, father? She casts a defiant glance at the portrait of the Archduke Melanidas, then she removes a glove from her hand and casts it as well. It hits the great Archduke right in the nose. Octavia laughs at that, and the tall walls and innumerable portraits echo her voice. Baffled, you ask Lady Melanidas why she has summoned you. Because you have caught my attention. I noticed you, even when you were somewhat younger than you are now, and then I started seeing you again and again. I've caught myself thinking about you quite often, and so I've decided that I wish to possess you. You will become my companion. Other humans will envy you, but no one will dare to cross you. My name will open any door you like. In return, you will satisfy my every whim, and I will do with you as I please. Octavia rises from the throne, the hem of her dress lifting up to reveal her elegant, slender leg. Oh dear. You know the history of this throne, yes? My ancestor Chal Melanidas used to sit here during the rebellion of Magla. Can you imagine that? Chal Melanidas made decisions that transformed the entire empire, all from this very seat, and now it's gathering dust in this vainglorious art gallery of my father's. Now, come to me, human. Octavia awaits for you to do her bidding. One does not argue with an Arcanian. Since the dawn of the Empire, they have taken whatever they wanted. If you refuse Octavia, daughter to the Archduke of Magra, you will insult her greatly. If you submit to this Arcanian woman, if you become her plaything, everyone will know you are in the good graces of Lady Melanidas herself. As a human, what more could you possibly dream of? You recall your chance encounters with her, from the days of your youth to more recent times. What are your feelings for this exceptional Arcanian lady, and what does she truly want from you? If you are willing to enter into a perilous romance with Octavia, perhaps you could do it on your own terms, returning her affections while keeping your honor. Would she defy all the traditions of old for you and recognize you as her equal, even if only in secret? Wow. Octavia arches her back on her father's throne and waits for you, her slender hand beckoning you closer. I could submit to her. I can insist on being treated as her equal, or I can reject her. I'm going to insist on being treated as her equal. Thankfully, we have the option to do that. I'm not going to reject her because that's just going to be awful. But if she wants to marry me and be in a romance, we're going to do it as equals. I'm not a pushover. Stefan will probably throw himself beneath her, but I won't. You give Octavia your answer, looking her straight in the eye. You have been in love with her ever since you were young, enchanted by her beauty and grace, every chance encounter a treasured memory, and you know that this feeling is mutual. To you, there is no greater honour than Lady Octavia's affection. But you cannot sacrifice your honour as a nobleman for the sake of this love. You do not mean this as an insult. On the contrary, Lady Melanidas is far superior to you. It is true. Yet you too are of the noble estate, and you cannot accept humiliation, even if you must face the full extent of the Melanidas' ear. You will reciprocate Octavia's affection, not as an obedient plaything, but as a man and a noble. Your impassioned speech ends, and you steel yourself to face her wrath. But, to your surprise, Octavia seems lost in thought, her eyes downcast. Nobody denies me. I'm not used to this. You are a remarkable human indeed, Morgan Brante. I have noticed this ever since we first met. Your words echo in my heart. You do not follow the usual rules. Any other man would have been grovelling at my feet by now. Perhaps you can be my escape from this stifling, sickening world. So be it. I choose a human as my lover, and I care little for what the aristocracy of the twins' forsaken province has to say about it. I'll take this as far as I like. But you will be safer if our affair remains a secret to the world. Now come to me, my sweet human. You draw closer to Octavia on the throne. She reaches out for your face, caressing it gently and carefully, as though touching a human for the first time. A moment passes, and suddenly her arms wrap around your neck and her legs lock around your torso as she pulls you closer to her with all her might. You do not resist the Archnean's assault. Her embrace leads you to the throne. So, how do you like the seat of the great chair Melanandas? Just a piece of wood, don't you agree? Uncomfortable too, but luckily it's spacious enough for the two of us. Octavia's ravenous lips find yours as her hands free you from your fashionable attire, her entire body shivering with excitement. You caress her skin, tender and azure. You commit her to memory, studying her, trying to understand her. Octavia's eyes are dark as the starless sky, sparkling with delight from your sweet transgression. But why does she seek to displeasure with you? Why would she humiliate her ancestors and her very dynasty by having an affair with a human? Seeing you preoccupied, Octavia gently pulls your head up by the chin. She kisses you passionately, and her lips start moving down your half-naked body. Her inhumane passion swallows you and overtakes you until the vast throne room of the Melanidas dynasty echoes with the last of her ecstatic moans. Then there is a silence save for the sound of your heavy breathing. Octavia caresses you back slowly, then playfully pushes you off the throne. The Archneans watch you from the portraits, their faces as dispassionate as ever. Octavia returns to you at dawn, now wearing the modest black dress, her hair in a formal bun. It is time for you to leave, Morgan. The Archduke will return to the castle soon. I will visit Anisot now and again. Several estates there belong to me. We will meet there, safe from prying eyes. You leave Serpenverda with your head spinning and your heart racing. The day it takes to return to Anisot passes like a single moment. When your family asks you about your visit to the Archduke, you evade the question. Your relationship with Octavia Melanandas has become romantic. Your encounters are rare yet passionate. From that day forth, your heart aches sweetly, yearning for Octavia's letters, and when it is time for a brief tryst, the two of you disappear into one of her estates and give in to your secret passion. There are days when your love and lover seem but an illusion, something gone forever, but soon after another note arrives and the affair continues, only to be cut short again for an unknown time. You have stolen the heart of the most beautiful and high-born Archnean lady of Magla. Only one nagging thought casts a shadow on your love. What will be the price for this insolence? An affair with Octavia, year 1140. You have started having an affair with the daughter of the Archduke Melanandas. I mean, she came to us, so we couldn't refuse it. Her, surely. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you thought of this episode. How are the decisions going? Would you agree with them? Would you have chosen differently? And how are things playing out in your mind? And what do you expect for the future? So I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a nice day.